To see the fully uncut version of this video, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons.
What's that like to live deliciously? Chaos reigns.
Please don't scream.
Nah, Sid! Don't you blame the movies! Movies don't create psychos! Movies make psychos more creative!
What's happening? My name is Jonjo Lyons, and today I'm here to present to you my review for Zipperface. Written and directed by all of these wonderfully talented people, Zipperface stars... all of this! Lisa Ryder is a young policewoman recently promoted to detective when she has her first case in tracking down and identifying a serial killer in her small California town. How you doing, my gorgeous bunch of leather temptresses? It's that time again. Time to tackle another terrible 80s slasher, an 80s slasher with soap opera performances that was inexplicably made in the 90s. Zipperface follows a couple of cops trying to track down a serial killer who wears a full gimp suit, which is always fun. With the gimp suit comes a healthy dose of eroticism, which is relatively new for the channel, and with all the vomit and pus that is usually splashing across our screens, a bit of titillation is more than welcome. The real stars of the show here are the hilarious performances and incredible story choices. It really does feel like a relatively modern Lost Herschel Gordon Lewis movie, and coming from me, that's a huge compliment. One of the biggest gifts of this channel is finding horror movies of the past that somehow slip me by, and honestly, this might be one of my favourite discoveries to date. Who of our sexy cast will be under that sexy leather mask? Let's find out. But before we get into all of that, I just want to remind you, you can see this video completely uncut and early at patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons for as little as $3 a month. That's it. Want to see the uncut videos, gain access to the Discord and all the other Patreon exclusive stuff? Go over there now. And for those of you that don't know, my directorial debut short film, Better Anything, is currently in post-production and so close to the end. If you still want to grab any perks from the original crowdfund, they are still available at the link in the pinned comment and description below, so go check them out. Those perks will be sent out over 2025 and 2026 as the film does its festival run. Thank you so much to everybody that contributed towards the film. It's turned out really great. I'm so happy and I can't wait for you to see it. But anyway, I'm in the mood to scream my safe word, so let's not waste any more time. Get ready to meet your new favorite leather daddy. This is Zipperface. The movie begins in Palm City, California as police rush to a shootout. Here we meet Officer Lisa Ryder, who's quickly joined by detectives Harry Shine and Willie Scalia. She clues them in on the perp, a man holding his wife and child hostage. Ryder then advances as Shine enters through the back. The man then steps out, threatening to shoot the hostages when Shine cracks him and his family scarper. The man threatens Shine, so Ryder steps in and takes him down. Our hero, ladies and gentlemen, Lisa Ryder, an officer of the law that is not afraid to empty an entire clip into you at a moment's notice. We then find out from Willie that news of Ryder's promotion just came over the radio. Which is pretty quick. I mean, she only just shot the guy. I guess news travels fast down old California way. Cut to City Hall where the mayor is giving a press conference supported by her loving husband who is not wearing a toupee. Here she announces Lisa's promotion from uniformed officer to, how she puts it,
our first woman detective.
Cut to this shadow and then to the reveal of the film's villain, Zipperface. Which really brings me back to my childhood. That's the outfit my dad would wear to every single parent-teacher conference. No wonder the teachers never with me in class. Cut to the opening credits and then to these three ladies of the night pulling up at this place. They're here to entertain and enter the building as Zipperface suits up. The women hit the elevator, then make their way down this very blue hall as Zipperface finally finishes putting together his elaborate outfit. In the dressing room, one of the girls, Janet, is nervous, but the others, Sherry and Natalie, tell her she's an actress and she'll be fine. They leave as in the other room we can hear the fun starting to kick off.
Hey, we had a deal. No more of that dog food, man. It's all fat.
This is enough to make Janet think twice, and she comes out saying this isn't for her and she's gonna go. But Zipperface ain't having none of that.
You're my slaves.
Janet.
The girls then take off with Zipperface in hot pursuit. After a short chase, they make it to the car and manage to pull away just as Zipperface emerges. They then peel off and the killer chops at the railing as we cut to this woman, Lizzie, sleeping. She's awoken by Natalie, who fills her in on the night's events and asks to stay as she's scared to go home. Lizzie says they should call the cops, but Natalie ain't up for that, saying she's in enough trouble with them already. The pair then hug and kiss as we cut to the cops at the crime scene. And then to the police station as Ryder takes a seat at her desk. Willie shows her the crime scene photos of Janet when the chief calls her in, telling Willie he's on desk duty. And yes, for those of you wondering, the first time watching this film, every time they called that detective Willie, it made me laugh. I have some sort of deficiency. I don't know. Never go full Jonjo. In the office, Chief drinks a glass of as he says Ryder will be working with Shine on this one. He thinks this may be just a hooker getting unlucky with the wrong John, but Ryder disagrees, saying Janet looks like a newbie to the job and probably didn't know what she was getting herself into. Chief says she didn't have an ID, just a motel key, so Shine grabs it and says they're on their way.
Think you're hot shit, don't you, Ryder?
Ease off, Willie. Is that how you got desk duty? Shooting off your big mouth?
Yeah, that's right, Willie. Ryder ain't gonna take that shit. She's a strong, independent woman who's gonna crack this case wide open. Outside, Shine expresses his dismay of not having Willie on the case, but Ryder says she'll be happy to learn from him.
Well, I want you to know I'm grateful for the chance to learn from you.
Look, Ryder, don't be buttering my buns. Let's just get this one over with.
See, it's dialogue like that makes me love this movie. It's straight out of an old film noir. I wonder if this one would look better in black and white. Back in the chief's office, he's chewing out Willie, saying he's been late back from his night shifts 3 times and is on thin ice. Very subtly suggesting to the audience that he may be up to no good. Is he the killer? Yes. The chief then dismisses him and we cut to our heroes arriving at the motel. The owner, who's a bit of a says they don't allow hookers to work out of her establishment, and the last time she saw Janet was when she left the previous night. The cops then start to search, immediately finding a card heading to the address on it. Cut to Michael Walker Photography as the cops enter and meet Michael himself, a saucy photographer who's not at all creepy.
So what can I do for you two? Father-daughter shots?
Okay. They question him about Janet, showing Michael pictures, but he says he can't be sure he's ever seen her before. Shine then goes to take a piss for like the 5th time this movie when Michael starts to throw charm at Ryder, saying she'd make a really great subject.
Boyfriend?
You're getting awfully personal, aren't you?
I'm sorry, I just thought you'd make a really great subject.
Ryder then gives the man her card and they leave. That's when we see Michael open up a filing cabinet, producing pictures of himself and Janet, which he burns. Ah, so he's the killer. They made us think it was Willie, but it's obviously him. Cut back to the station as this officer gives Ryder files on every registered red Mustang in town. The car the sex workers were driving in earlier, in case you missed that point or I just didn't mention it. Shine then says he's discovered Janet's name.
Janet Manson.
Excuse me?
Name of the dead chick. No priors for hooking, but a DUI.
I don't like women being called chicks, babes, or broads.
Or dumpsters, tarts, slappers, dishwashers, tramps, bimbos, hags, feminazis, trollops, sex kittens, Susie me-offs, chef clamsies, bints, wenches, jazz purses, the useless skin around a vagina, jumpers, human jars, sags, gitches, boo-boo kitty pink eyes, walking holes, guzzling all the dirty that drain your soul and leave you with nothing but a sense of emptiness and regret. None of that is acceptable. Do you understand? Ryder then picks up a call from Michael, who again puts on the charm, inviting her over for a photo shoot. It's for a gallery showing about women of valor, and even though she says no, he says he'll see her tonight and hangs up, which she kinda likes. Okay. Cut to Lizzie all dressed up for another client. She tries to invite Natalie out as well, but after the other night, the girl isn't so sure. Lizzie says they got rent to pay and somehow was able to convince her in record time. Cut to this building as Lizzie enters the dressing room and tells Natalie the guy is checked out and safe, but also wants her tied up. Lizzie does the honors, tying and blindfolding Natalie before standing her up when the John is of course revealed to be Zipperface.
You've been a bad little slut, Natalie.
Hey! I said was off limits!
Please, God. No. Please, God, no. Oh, help me. Oh, my God, help.
Decapitation is fine, just no bad words. Natalie runs to the roof, not even attempting to take off her blindfold when she's grabbed by Zipperface and taught unsuccessfully how to fly. Cut to Michael's place as he lets Ryder in, who for some reason actually turned up. He pours out some wine sporting a dead-eyed psycho face, then hands it over to Ryder, who says she hates having a picture taken. Michael then pops on some tunes and gets to work making Ryder a little more comfortable. Ryder quite rightly brings up how wrong this is due to his involvement in the case, but Michael brushes that off, then unleashes the detective's luscious locks. Cue the 80s as montage. See, this is nice. She's having fun. He's not skeezy at all. Well, that escalated quickly. Come on, Ryder, you don't need no man, especially one who's clearly the killer. Luckily, Ryder gets beeped and called to the station to find out about the latest 2 dead sex workers. She goes to leave when Michael reminds her she forgot her doily or whatever the this is. He puts it on her and invites her to dinner before giving her another creepy as kiss. Ryder then exits and we cut to the crime scene where she enters and immediately has a terrible reaction.
Let go.
Cut to literally 2 seconds later and she's fine. We then go to City Hall where the mayor's aide Devon complains he had a date. The husband informs him of the murders and the mayor tells them to keep it quiet. Mayor tells her husband to go home and get some sleep as we cut to the detectives searching yet another one of the victims' houses. They find a card about a religious rec center, thinking to investigate that later, then start theorizing in the bedroom.
They're all into this sort of S&M scene, and then he winds up strangling one of the girls as if it's some kind of orgasm.
Janet Manson, the first victim.
Right. And then he starts knocking off the witnesses.
Mm-hmm. Like Natalie and her roommate. God, poor Elizabeth.
They then find a picture of Sherry and head off to the church. Inside, they find what Shine calls a hookers convention, then meet Reverend Dimsdale. The Reverend claims innocence, saying he welcomes these women in and tries to save them. He sends his girls out with pamphlets to try and save others and is obviously absolutely not running some sort of pimp operation. The cops then leave as the priest makes some calls and we cut to Willie. Here, Shine apologizes to him about Ryder taking his place when Willie loses his temper and drops his dog food. He says his girlfriend has a dog and for some reason the movie really tries to suggest that this is suspicious. I don't know why.
Hey, Willie. About this chick you screwed. Well, treat her nice, huh? And keep a lid on that guinea temper.
Back to the mayor and her husband as she complains about the lousy timing of these murders. They're joined by Devon, who hands over the crime scene photos, and the mayor continues to complain about how this is going to affect her election. That's when the husband suggests they tell the truth, that there's a killer out there, but they're gonna find him with a slogan, tough on crime, which is a foolproof idea. Devon then drops his suitcase. So Devon's the killer! Or just a kinky Cut to Ryder as she answers her front door to find Michael. He asks if she's naked under that robe, then goes to leave when Ryder invites him in. Michael offers her some champers, but she declines, saying it'd only put her to sleep. He then starts massaging Ryder and asks her about her day when she moans about the case. Michael quickly shushes her and suggests they talk about them two.
The answer is yes.
Well, that's great. What's the question?
Am I naked under this robe?
Well, hot diggity damn! Cue the 80s as sex scene. Well, that was exquisite, but I really have no interest in reviewing the rest of the movie. Maybe I'll have a little nap and we can pick it up then. Cut to this theatre where Sherry and this bloke Alvin are rehearsing for a play. Alvin keeps getting it wrong and gets shouted at when the killer knocks over this can. Alvin then goes to check it out, leaving Sherry alone and gets himself slept. The killer then slips in his place, with Sherry somehow not noticing her co-star is now in a gimp suit. She finally clocks and knees him in the but is quickly strangled to death. Unfortunately for the killer, he's discovered and runs this random woman down in his car. Should have looked both ways and maybe not stumbled on a murder. Honestly, you've made a few really big mistakes this evening. Cut to the cops at the scene with Shine checking to make sure Ryder is okay looking at dead bodies. She asks if she'll ever get used to it, but Shine says no, she'll just get numb, and that's the end of that scene. Cut to an interrogation room as the cops interview Alvin. He tells them about getting knocked out and compares the killer's height to Devon, the mayor's aide who's also there. They let the boy go and the mayor's people threaten the cops with getting fired before off also. Cut to the chief's office as the mayor makes it clear she doesn't care if they're guilty or not, she just wants someone arrested for these crimes by tomorrow. Cut to this woman being chased down by a gang. She's then cornered when our heroes turn up, allowing the woman to run. Shine notices something ain't right, so chases the woman down and they discover it's actually Devon.
If you so much as breathe a word of this, I'll see to it that the mayor has you both pounding a beat when the sun don't shine.
Hey, I won't say a word. Besides, you're kind of cute.
I'm just gonna breeze past this one. Nothing to see here. Cut to the cop cafeteria where Ryder is sulking. Shine asks what's wrong and Ryder admits she's banging Michael Walker.
He's funny and he's sensitive and he's intelligent.
He's a serial killer, but to be fair, he does eat like a truffle pig. This conversation then kind of goes nowhere, with Shine saying he's going to go back to the office and do some digging on Devon. Cut to him doing just that when he's joined by Willie, who says Devon is clean. Shine then only just now clocks that all the dead women were actresses and Michael takes headshots. Even though it was one of the first things Michael said to them when they first met, he shouts it out like it's some eureka moment. They take the news to the chief, also informing him that Ryder's been getting down by the potential killer, as we cut to them just as Michael shoots his load. The couple discusses how hard it is finding relationships in their respective professions when Michael professes his love and gets Ryder to do the same.
Come on. Say you love me.
I love you.
You only just met! I don't know what this guy's looks like, but he must be hitting that back wall something fierce. Cut to Ryder arriving at work and being sent to the chief's office where they have her modelling photos.
We have to talk.
Cut outside as we find out Ryder has been suspended and it was Shine who turned her in. He says Michael has a record for beating the shit out of some guy who was beating the shit out of his fiance's the fiance being the first victim, Janet, who now we know is a lying, cheating I'm glad she's dead. Ryder says Michael is innocent and refuses to give up his location, then leaves. Cut to her arriving home and giving Michael the business. He admits his past actions but says he lied because he didn't want to lose her. He says he had nothing to do with Janet's death, and we get some epic acting from Ryder.
And even worse, you lied to me. What were you so afraid of? Were you afraid of hurting me? Well, you did, Michael, you did. You really hurt me.
Michael tells her he knows he'll get railroaded if he hands himself in, so instead he's gonna find the real killer, even though he's clearly the killer. Ryder then agrees to help him.
I love you.
You only just met! Me and my girlfriend have been together for 2 years and I still won't look her in the eye! Cut to City Hall where the mayor is giving a press conference announcing Michael as the killer and offering a cash reward for his capture. The chief sees this, as does our happy couple who decide to go to the church after dark to investigate the reverend. Back with the chief, we find out Shine isn't answering his radio and Willie is the only cop he can count on, being the killer. We see Shine tailing Ryder and Michael when they arrive at the church and head inside. Here they find Reverend Pimp dead when someone comes in and they hide. We only see a pair of legs and thinking it's Devon in lady clothes again, grab them, discovering it's one of Reverend Pimp's girls. She says she had nothing to do with this and was gonna meet a John, but the Reverend called her and begged her not to. He told her to come to the church, and that pretty much brings us up to now. Ryder asks where the girl was gonna meet the John tonight, and we cut to Michael emerging from the church in stealth mode. He checks the coast is clear, which it isn't, then calls out to Ryder, who's wearing the hooker's outfit and looking hot as They take off, followed by Shine, and we cut to them arriving at the killer's lair. Michael says if she isn't out in 5 minutes, he's coming in after her, and they have a little smooch when Ryder heads inside. Cut back to the mayor being a to the chief, and then to Ryder walking down that super blue hallway, once again looking like I want her to step on my throat and shit in my mouth. She finds the dressing room and a secret door, but is immediately knocked out by Zipperface, who takes her gun. Cut to Shine arriving at the lair with no Michael in sight because, well, he's the killer. He then enters, and we cut to Ryder in a bit of a situation. She tries to pretend she isn't a cop, but unfortunately Zipperface knows exactly who she is. He pulls out his gnarly looking machete, and it looks like he's about to her with it headless style when we cut to the chief saying Willie's gone missing now as well as the others. Cut to Ryder getting whipped when she tells the killer they're not alone. Unfortunately, Zipperface doesn't believe her when we quickly cut to Shine. The killer catches it in the dick again when he calls Ryder his fantasy, much like Michael did in bed earlier. Because he's the killer.
Michael? Michael, is that you?
Yes.
See? What the f did I say?
Get your hands off her!
Michael!
Wait, but if you're over there, who's in the gimp suit? The two fight with Michael quickly getting knocked out and Shine kicking over a can, distracting the killer. Michael then wakes up and unties Ryder when we see that Machado from the title card. Michael catches one in the back, so Ryder starts f***ing him up before pulling the knife out of her boyfriend and putting it in the killer's leg. That's when Shine comes in and subdues the killer.
You're gonna be okay, Michael. You're gonna be okay. I love you, baby.
You only just... Never mind. Never mind. We also get this shot of Willie.
Now, goddammit, stay in the car, okay? Sit.
So he was looking after his girlfriend's dog. And what an adorable dog too. I wonder what it would taste like barbecued. Anyway, the entire police department enters and the killer is revealed to be...
Below, Jesus Christ, it's the mayor's husband.
Holy shit.
the mayor's husband. Yep. Apparently he was sick of having a strong and successful wife and basically being a doormat, so he'd go out and get his jollies by doing a load of BDSM shit with all of these sex workers, but then when Janet accidentally died, he had to take care of the witnesses, which is fair enough. Also, isn't that exactly the theory that Ryder predicted earlier on in the film? Impressive. After explaining all of this, the mayor enters and upon realizing her husband is the killer, gets hysterical.
But you destroyed everything. It's over for both of us.
And with that, the mayor is led away. Ryder gives about 1 billion kisses to the man that she only met days ago, and the film comes to an end. The end! Well, what a truly abysmal slasher film. I f***ing loved it. Zipperface is a pretty terrible, melodramatic cop movie that just so happens to be horny as f*** and have a nice, bloody, violent streak running through it. So yes, of course I enjoyed it. The story is simple enough with a killer in a gimp suit going around knocking off women. What's interesting here is our final girl was actually a headstrong detective who loves herself a bit of the pork organ, sidestepping the usual slasher movie tropes of the helpless innocent. There is a feminist theme running through the movie that I think misses the mark somewhat, with Ryder's aforementioned characteristics and the killer being a man who's jealous of his successful wife, but the film also feels like it was written by a 60-year-old man who refers to women casually as broads. There's such a disconnect between what I feel like the filmmaker's intentions are and what's on screen that I just find hilarious. One more thing about the story, the killer says the first girl was an accident and he had to eliminate the witnesses. If that's true, then why the f did he already have the machete? Onto the characters, and as I said, Ryder is an unconventional final girl that the actor does her best with. As with all the characters, her performance is straight out of a soap opera, but she gives it her all. Everyone else is fine, with Shine coming through as the fatherly figure, Willie being the reddest red herring ever with the cutest dog, and Michael being your typical love interest, who on my first watch I was genuinely convinced was the killer the entire time. Speaking of the killer, the mayor's husband is such a nothing character. He shows up for like 3 scenes, then has a bitch fit at the end about having to rub his wife's feet or whatever. What is a surprise is the gore. Going into this, I was expecting softcore with maybe a blood splash once or twice and a killer reveal, but what we actually got was a little bit more than that. The beheading and building throw were very fun. Sure, it's nowhere near as gory as the films I usually cover, but at least we got something. Production-wise, the film is literally just a soap opera. I guess they got some good mileage out of that big blue light they had on set, but other than that, there's not much visual flair going on here. The sound and editing was fine enough. Much better than the Herschel Gordon Lewis movies that I feel like this was definitely based on, just with less blood. In the end, Zipperface is a erotic slasher with some fun surprises and terrible performances. I like the final girl and the killer's look, but his motive and almost everything else is shit. It's still a super fun watch. If you're into crap like this, just make sure you've got your lotion ready for that one scene.
So that was my review of Zipperface. What do you lot think? I loved this one. A proper so bad it's good movie with splashes of gore, amazing outfits, and a legendary sex scene. What more could you ask for? I did have one problem though. Throughout the movie, I just couldn't shake the thought of how hot it must have been in that gimp suit. Good lord. And honestly, we had a lot more gore than I expected from a film of this nature. That beheading scene was a standout favourite. Speaking of which, if you want to see what happens to someone's head when it hits the concrete after falling 7 stories completely uncut and early, head over to patreon.com/Jonjo Lyons. There you can find the uncut version of this video plus others with more stuff being added every single week. We got the uncut reviews, Patreon exclusive reviews, / comic breakdowns and the Discord. And all that could be yours for as little as $3 a month. You can pledge more, I really appreciate it as it's film festival time and I want to get better anything in front of as many eyes as possible. So that's it for another week. Like the video, leave a comment and click subscribe if you haven't already. My name's Jonjo Lyons and after all of that, you didn't even get to hear my safe word. It's James A. Janice. Nothing destroys a boner quicker than the heart-crushing jealousy I have for that man's success. Anyway, I'll just say it's all that I have. Good night, everybody.